potatoes, the way they're going to happen now, these are new.
Yeah.
They're going to spill out over the bed. And as they spill out, like in this case, it'll come out to here and I'll just go, no, thank you. Like that.
Yeah.
That's all I have to do.
And then in terms of
the intention is for it to cover the ground so other weeds don't grow in.
Right.
And then probably in the fall, I'm going to come through and harvest all the sweet potatoes out. And I'll plant something else.
Okay.
So they're just here for a little while.
Okay.
And in the meantime, these are going to grow up and fill in. The sugar cane's going to fill in. The melon's going to fill in.
Yeah.
So the sweet potatoes are going to occupy a space, give me a product, and then I can phase them out.
And when do you harvest those?
This variety, I think you can do it in like 4 to 5 months after planting. So sometime in the fall.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly when. We just finished our passion fruit harvest. This thing was like silly how many passion fruit were on here, but they're all gone now. This is the vine here.
How often do you re-establish?
About every 3 years they need to be They last about every 2 years, so really you should be replanting every other year, roughly. You know, in another spot, just so that you have them.
Do you get cutting and just throw it in the ground, or how are you doing that?
They will grow from cuttings. That's one of the ways to do it, and then a lot of times now you can get them grafted.
Yeah,
in the nursery.
Are you repurchasing, or you're just propagating?
It depends, right? I just bought some just because I didn't have any started yet, and I want to plant more. As I develop the nursery, I'm going to start propagating my own. But the other thing is, these only last a few years on their own roots. They're finding that some of the other passifloras do better longevity-wise, so they're starting to graft onto like the yellow passion fruit that's got a little bit more nematode resistance or whatever it is, and then the purple ones, which is the one that I grow for taste and flavor, is, in my opinion, far superior to all the other ones. So it's kind of a little bit of science to it. You can do it on grafted, or you can do cuttings and then just know that you're going to replace them more often. Either way, this one's basically done. Now that it's finished, I might just pull the vine down and because what I've been doing, I've been waiting for this to finish so that I can prune this tree.
Yeah.
I've been leaving it alone because if I prune the tree while there's vines all over, then it all falls and I lose. So now that it's done, I'll pull this down, I'll prune all this out, and then I'll probably clean the grounds and decide what I want to plant underneath it, and just kind of do a whole reset.
How many of those?
These didn't show the slightest sign of any drought stress because they put a way deep taproot. I think the reason why they grow slow is because they're putting so much energy down to develop that deep taproot, and then they start to grow.
Is that a particular cultivar, or you order the same?
This one is called Lemon Drop Mangosteen, or Bakupari. And then the ones on the next row over is a different species called Achachairu, but they're all Garcinias, so they're all related to mangosteen. We just passed by 2 different types of mulberry. Interesting thing with these mulberries, I learned this just this year. So these already fruited. I've got other ones that are better examples, but these already fruited. My kid was in these trees for weeks, just gorging himself. There's another one down here with a lot more fruit on it. But what I found out that there's a guy in the Philippines that farms mulberries. Here, check this one out. He has a mulberry farm and he makes mulberry wine and mulberry jam and this and that.
Oh, wow. And what is that variety name?
This is the, I think it's the Pakistani. So you're seeing fruit on this, right?
Yeah.
It already fruited once.
Oh, wow.
This is the second fruiting. So what I learned from this guy is that if you defoliate the whole tree, you take every branch, cut it in half, and you take every leaf that remains, you can actually force it to go into dormancy and fruit again. Because when they come out of dormancy, when they first push out, that's when you'll see, this is the beginning of the push, fruit, 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 then leaves. Fruit, 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 then leaves. Fruit, fruit. So that's how they express out of dormancy. So you can put them into dormancy manually if you want to. You don't have to.
And one more question with that ground cover. About how far apart were you planting those and have them spread that way?
I didn't plant them. They just showed up. They were already here.
Okay.
Yeah, and at your place, they'll probably show up, or they're probably already there.
Okay.
It's like you'll see them like in areas where you don't mow. That's where they might pop up, because they're not getting knocked down.
Okay.
These all emerged because there was a fence line there, and that's where they were growing out from the fence line, where they could. You just couldn't go back. But I kind of appreciate them. So in this area we have 6 tree lines, 10 mango trees in the tree line. They're spaced 15 feet apart down this way, 20 feet apart between the rows. In the middle, I have a midline of other stuff, which I can describe if you're interested. And then I have a path, and then a midline and a path. The idea is that I have a pathway to get to every single tree. Waiting them to find out which ones I would use in that case. If I was gonna do, if say I bought 5.5 more acres and I was thinking I might plant more mango trees, this is my library of information, and this is where I would start to craft my own trees. And then also it makes me a better nurseryman because I can say, well, these are the ones that work here. Those are all great, they taste awesome, but you only get it every 2 years, or it only fruits this much, or they fall off, or they split when it rains, or, you know, there's all different things. There's no perfect anything, okay? We don't live in a perfect world. It'd be cool if we did. Just, I'll try not to get too much into philosophy.
And there's no irrigation here either, right? There's no irrigation.
No irrigation. Wow. So an interesting thing about the mango, that's a good question. When I started, I was planting the trees and watering them at the beginning of the rainy season. Like this would be the time to plant. That's how I did it. The first, like this 4, there's 4 over there. Those are the first 8 that I did, and then I extended that way, and then I extended this way. By the time I got to the end of it, I realized that I can plant a mango tree, never water it, and walk away. And I can show you the ones at the end where I didn't, and it wasn't even in the dry, it wasn't even in the wet season. I just put it in the ground, put some mulch around it, and said, "Good luck. Have a nice life."
That's pretty good.
These are tough trees.
So what type of mango produces best here?
We'll find out. Let's walk around and look. I don't have all the answers yet. So we're only
Yeah, these are pretty good.
we're only just now getting into production on some of these trees. This is actually a light crop for this tree. This is the sweet tart.
Wow.
For the last 3 years, this is literally broken branches with fruit. It's just a ridiculous, and this is consistently in people's top 3 mangoes. This is 5 years. Yep. And it's been pruned heavily. I just pruned it. All the prunings are from like a few weeks ago. This tree, if left alone, would be, I don't even know, it would be huge. But it also would be outside of my control, and it would be shading out other
If you did irrigate it, would they grow better? Do you know?
I don't think so. I think if I irrigated, I could get slightly bigger fruit. Like this year was so dry, I think I could have had, some of the species came out really small. That tree didn't fruit at all because I pruned it really heavily last year because it's so vigorous. I'm trying to control the size of the cack. They're like, yeah, buttercream. Put them in the wrong order. So you'll see the pineapples are starting to turn yellow, some of these. So the way that I keep my pineapples from being predated on is using this right here. This is Plectranthus barbatus or barbutus or whatever it's called. This is related to Cuban oregano. I just take a little cutting of this, smell that, and I shove it underneath the fruit when they start to yellow, and it keeps the rats away.
Oh, that's smart. Interesting.
So I'm getting 100% success. You know what it is? Anybody recognize this? Do you have any like true fruit nerds?
Coffee.
Are you the fruitiest, nerdiest fruit guy?
No.
Okay, this is called Olo Sapo.
Oh, yeah, I heard of that. That's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, this comes from Latin America. I got this seed from Fruit and Spice Park like 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow.
Olo Sapo is in the Sapotacea. It's related to Sapodilla and Mamey and all those sapotes with the big shiny seed on the inside. This one tastes like butterscotch rum. It's fantastic. It's not a common fruit. It's kind of gnarly, lumpy looking. It's not popular, but my goodness, it's so good. We had one, we picked one up off the ground recently from Fruit and Spice. The smell just knocked your socks. It smells like candy. It's just like.
I've heard about it. I never tasted.
So I'm really excited because this is the first time it's flowered. And I don't know of any trees that are further north than this. So I don't know how tropical it is. I don't know much about it, but it's flowering. On mounds, jackfruits don't tend to like wet feet, so I have them up on a little bit of mound. A lot of these have defoliated. You'll see in the background there's probably 20 jackfruit trees here of all different varieties. Well, they get stressed out by the drought pretty bad. Yeah. This would be really nice if I had water here, and someday I'll get a well put in and I'll bring it over. But This one's called Orange Crush. There's Cantaloupe. There's Small. There's Excalibur Gold. It goes all the way around the whole
actually
thing.
producing orange crushes into the ground for like 6 years, I think. You want to say now? Still not.
Grafted.
I haven't had one for
Is it in the size or is it bigger?
Yeah, it's bigger. We've cut it back so many times. But, yeah.
So somebody else was telling me they were having issues with theirs, and they figured out that I think their chickens were underneath it. They said there was they thought it was too much fertility, like too much nitrogen. I don't know if you fertilize yours, you might be setting them back, like giving them too much of something so they're not stimulated to fruit. A lot of trees tend to fruit when they're stressed, either by cold or defoliation, or sometimes people will girdle trees to convince them. Not all trees, but it may be something like that where it's like they have it too good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or it could be that if you're slightly colder, it may be that when they were about to flower, it's getting cold and knocking the flowers off. So it could be the opposite.
It's really good for you.
Anything's possible, right?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Let's walk briefly through here and then we'll loop back. Last time I had one of these, I pulled it off and I just with my hand went and was just eating, no mess, just the easiest, most delicious thing.
No like goop and
Would you anticipate that growing closer, like off the floor later on, or?
No, these collars, after this fruits, these collars are going to continue to push out these stems, and those are the fruiting stems.
Always, it's gonna be low.
Yeah, if you damage these, you'll lower your production. You might get it to, it might have to settle for fruiting somewhere else in the tree.
Have you ever done the making of the notch above the node to encourage a branch coming out?
Not anytime recently.
Yeah.
No, I haven't done that. This one, you can see the tree was suffering, and then it said, okay, well, let's see if I can replace myself. And then it got dry again, and so now that one's suffering. But trees are, it's really amazing to watch how they react and perform and compensate. And sometimes they just can't, you know? But sometimes they'll really shock you. Like, you know,
Well, this year was really bad.
this year was bad. So
If they survive this year, they survive anything.
yeah, last year I really went through the effort of hand watering my jackfruit. I brought a big tank over here and I was watering during the dry season. This year I said, can't do it, I don't have time.
Yeah.
And they survived, you know, the fruit, we'll see what happens. They may push new flowers and actually fruit this year before it dries out again. That's what I'm hoping for.
Do you
Part
ever
of it is just their clocks are set wrong.
do you ever prune when you see that they're stressed out from lack of water?
Sometimes. In this case, I'm not. I want as many solar panels as possible because it's already defoliated. I don't want to take off its chance to push out new leaves. And they call it the honey mango. When you cut it open, it has little jelly pockets on the inside that taste kind of like honey.
Can I get one of those that are kind of messed up back there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, some of them are.
Yeah, grab one. Want one?
We're good. We got a lot of them. Thank you.
Thank
We got another mango called Mangifera odorata, the durian mango.
Oh really?
Or queenie. This is another.
And so does it have notes of durian?
It's got a strong smell.
Really?
I had this one at my last tasting. And I didn't get to try it.
Oh.
That's been my challenge with my tastings, is like I get to try like a third of it because it's all on the table and everything goes with it. And generally very, very well liked. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
Dad, are you gonna try some?
Maybe the little one can split it.
They eat watermelons.
They're fine.
Okay. I can cut part of the shoulder off. Alright, so I'm going to set this out. That's Angie. If anybody wants to take a sample of that, I'm going to cut the next one.
Oh, that's really good.
You like that one?
It's a lot like a tofu.
So put that out there. Fairchild. Does anybody want the seeds in particular, or they want to keep like a specific one? That's the Angie seed if you want it.
Sharp now. Sharp.
Alright, does anybody like spicy mangoes?
Yes, nice. Never
Yeah.
had it.
I do not like spicy.
You don't like spicy. Neither does my little girl. She does not like spicy. Okay, Sarah
I like
is a
these
more
watermelons.
spicy one,
No fiber, it's very nice.
but it's not like overwhelming. My friend, he's coming this afternoon. He's starting to work with me. He loves this. He likes all the spicy. This fruit cocktail. This is one that I don't remember being in love with, but I had a guy last week that was here. He's like, "That's the best mango that exists." Period. Everyone else shut up. That's it. But he was like, he liked sweet. He's like, I just like sweet. You could just put sugar in my mouth, and that's fine.
I find if you pick them a little early,
They have a
really good.
little more complexity.
Yeah. Well, they're like little. I mean, I like them a little more.
See, in this
They're
one,
different.
it's got a little funk next to the seed. So we'll see if, I don't know, if this could have been one that fell and it may have damaged, or it may just be slightly over, but let's go check it out. All right.
Do you have any Monstera deliciosas or no?
I do. Yeah, I have them kind of tucked in the woods, different places.
Are they fruity?
Some of them are. I don't often catch them at the right time.
What's a monstera fruit like?
It looks like a green corn on the cob.
I've seen it, but I don't know what it tastes like. Oh yeah.
It tastes like pineapples and bananas.
Yeah, for me I feel like pineapple, mango, banana. Pineapple, mango, banana.
If you can get one at the right taste, it's one of the most delicious things you can taste. They're just hard to get right, and then if you get it at the wrong time, it'll make your mouth feel like it's full of fiberglass.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but they're very, very good though.
Instantly regret that decision.
No, we saw it at the Sunken Garden.
That one's tart, so then it probably was an early drop.
Yeah, I want to see. It was
Yeah.
So black sapote, chocolate pudding fruit, chocolate sapote. So the darker part's going to be the ripest. If I need to cut them up small, I don't think everyone's going to try it.
my staff. Amount. It's like they don't. They tried to give some. They all hated it.
Yeah.
Like there's like one.
This I like to put in a smoothie with like bananas, and it makes it into it's the texture that's so awesome about it.
Like they use monk fruit, and it feels like almost like a backpack.
Are you taking
Yeah.
some honey?
This will make it
cinnamon?
like a little bit of this, some bananas, and like some pumpkin spice or something. Makes it really like